Hello, I'm Alex Gupta with UATV. Today I'm speaking with the Ambassador of Estonia to Ukraine, Gert Antsu. Hello, Mr. Ambassador. Welcome to UATV.
Hello.
How would you characterize the Ukrainian-Estonian relationship present day, and what steps need to be taken in order to improve the already strong relationship between the two countries?
Well, as you say, the relations are already good. We have constant political contacts. If you take only this year, President Poroshenko was in Tallinn in January. Our Prime Minister was here, met the President and the Prime Minister. So there is constant interaction going, and of course we take close interest in what is happening in Ukraine, especially in these days that are not so easy for the country. And we try to help Ukraine as much as we can. Ukraine is the biggest beneficiary, for example, of our development cooperation. And even though Estonia is a small country, I would still say that per capita we are among the biggest donors in Ukraine.
I know business ties have strengthened. Do you anticipate those business ties increasing and more Estonian investors investing in Ukraine?
Well, it's always difficult in a situation that is a bit in a flux. The business ties, one has to admit, were a bit closer, say, 5 years ago, during the turbulences that Ukraine has gone through. Well, the trade has diminished somewhat, but yes, our investors, exporters take a close interest in Ukraine because it's a big country, it's a big market. Well, unfortunately, there are some issues that are prominent in our media, still some problems that our investors are having in Ukraine. So I hope we can get these off the table as soon as possible, and then I'm sure then we'd have some sort of a positive momentum so that more investment would be coming from Estonia again.
What particular industries in Ukraine do you think are attractive to Estonian businesses, investors? IT, agriculture, shipping?
Well, agriculture in general certainly is a lucrative sector. I'm not sure how much our investors in that field are ready to go out and well, into such a huge country. IT is easier. Well, that's what we do, and that's what we are becoming more and more famous for. Certainly, there is already a good cooperation project in the pipeline. It seems that an Estonian, Ukrainian cooperation between our businesses has been doing fine at a public tender here, and I hope this IT cooperation will strengthen.
Have you noticed, has the ease of doing business become easier here in Ukraine in, let's say, the last 5 years?
Yes, well, that's what I hear from the people, that things are moving on. And if you run into problems, usually you can solve them. So I would say that yes.
With regard to, I know a lot of education-wise, a lot of Ukrainians do go to the Baltic states, go to Estonia for education. Are you seeing an increase in students coming from Ukraine to Estonia? Are there stronger ties educationally between the two countries?
Certainly. We have, well, Ukraine is one of the most important countries for foreign students coming to Estonia. And we are very happy about that. The universities are giving good feedback, meaning that these are really excellent students. And well, I hope most of them, of course, will come back to Ukraine. Hopefully still some of them will stay in Estonia and contribute to our universities, our businesses. But it's not only students. Overall, actually, as Estonia is having quite a shortage of labor these days, and Ukraine is, well, the biggest market, or the biggest assistance to overcome this shortage. So last year, for example, we had a net increase of 1,000 Ukrainians coming to Estonia to work, well, which is not huge for Ukraine, but again, for a country like ours, that's quite significant. And as a result, it's just not just the businesses that benefit from that, but it's also the relations between the two countries. The Ukrainian diaspora in Estonia is getting bigger, and well, Estonian people are getting more and more familiarized to Ukrainians.
With regard visa-free entry for Ukrainians into the EU, do you expect more Ukrainians to be visiting Estonia this summer, this year?
Well, hopefully. it makes life easier for everyone, and we have a daily direct flight between Kiev and Tallinn, well, in the summer season between Odessa and Tallinn as well. So I hope people will come in bigger numbers.
I didn't know that. You had an Odessa-Tallinn direct flight.
Well, still people remember in Estonia Odessa from the old days, or some who don't. Well, it's an exotic place, and as I understand, the planes are quite full, so why not?
Turning now to cybersecurity, I know Estonia grapples with cyber threats as well as Ukraine. What similarities, what do Ukraine and Estonia have in common with regard to threats from cyber warfare, from cybersecurity?
Well, I guess it's not only Estonia and Ukraine. If we look at what has happened in the world over the last year, say, all over the place. Cyber attacks have become unfortunately a normal part of the landscape. So we have to deal with it everywhere. And certainly Ukraine being a country having a conflict against another country, well, certainly it's a target. And as about Estonia, well, we got an early start in 2007. We were the first country in the world at that time to suffer a major cyber attack. So we have had time to prepare ourselves, and I dare to say that we have become quite good at it. For example, the most recent cyber attack or virus that was going around the world, it didn't touch Estonia too much, well, hopefully because of our readiness. And I hear from our Ukrainian partners on a constant basis that there is interest in mutual cooperation in cyber defense. I think we both have experiences which, well, not everyone has. So there is certainly scope for bilateral cooperation here.
What are several factors? What are several things that you think Ukraine could really learn from Estonia with regard to cybersecurity?
Well, that's a difficult question.
Yeah.
I guess the first thing is the overall organization. I see Ukraine has made strides over the last year or so in its own coordination structures in the field. There is clearly an institution that is responsible, other institutions contributing to it. So maybe Ukraine is already in this sense, but then it's more technical work, basically, from cyber hygiene to really how to repel attacks. But this is, even though Estonia is famous for its IT savvy, but well, not everyone is an IT expert, so the technicalities I wouldn't really know about.
And one of my last questions I wanted to ask you, I know Estonia is known for being an IT powerhouse. Skype was created there. What makes Estonia, why is it so good with regard to IT developers? What gives it that competitive advantage?
Well, I would say that the Estonian government has had something to do with it. We really pushed for improvements in IT. Well, our e-governance, we have paperless governance, paperless government sessions, or the procedures of agreeing drafts before they come to government sessions electronically since 2000. Well, technologically, it's not a big thing. I think anyone could do that. But it's more the political will, say, which has always been there to make things as simple as possible. And people have caught up with that, and they now are actively demanding that everything should be doable over the internet. Well, we are, besides them already regular things, we are famous for having elections over the internet, for example. 1/3 of the people are voting over the internet from their office or from their home. Well, it's only a couple of things where you really need to be physically present. One is to get married. Well, that's not really possible over the internet still, and to sell or buy real estate. But people really expect that everything else should be possible to do over the internet without leaving their homes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here today, Mr. Ambassador. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
I'm Alex Gupta with UATV. I was speaking with the Ambassador of Estonia to Ukraine, Gert Antsu. You're watching UATV.